Sadhguru is a multi-millionaire, but some people don't like that. In fact, they call him a material guru. They think that it's not appropriate for a spiritual master to have money. He should be poor. But he doesn't. He's a multi-millionaire. His foundation is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, I'm sure, maybe even in the billions. And I think that's fantastic personally. I want Sadhguru to have more money. And that's exactly what we're going to discuss. How did Sadhguru earn his millions? Should he be a millionaire, a multi-millionaire? Is that something to be proud of? And what that means for you as a spiritual being out there, what that means for the spiritual community, and overall, what can we learn from this? So I welcome to the show James, someone who's been on my podcast many times talking about Sadhguru, very important topic. So take us away. What do you think about the subject? Do you think Sadhguru should have millions of dollars? Why do you think he has millions of dollars? What can you share with us?
Well, it's good to see you again, Shiva. I'm glad I just saw your recent video with your Rudraksha Malas that you just got from Nepal. So I'm looking forward to hopefully getting one of those and seeing everybody out there, in your Discord chat and everybody else on YouTube and around the globe with Shiva's Rudraksha Malas around their body. I first just wanted to start out with the video that you made about powerful communication tools. That should be like video of the year this year because that is one of the best videos you've ever put out. So I know in our last video I kind of talked over you maybe once or twice, and you even came back at me one time with less than 2 seconds. I mean, it doesn't have to be that way 100% of the time. There can be banter sometimes, but 98% of the time you should be communicating with some, not only respect but also consciousness, just as Shiva talked about in his prior video a few days ago. Powerful communication tools. Maybe link that in the bottom, or definitely watch that video. So, getting back to Sadhguru's wealth, yes, he should be very wealthy. Uh, he's put a lot of time and effort into his business. Going back to his earlier life, obviously Shiva is like an expert on Sadhguru, as well as everybody else watching this channel. They pretty much know Sadhguru's history. I'm just going to bring up a little bit about Sadhguru's earlier business ventures. So Sadhguru himself has talked about how this is like his third incarnation, and he's had people around him growing up to actually help him with his life. So his life hasn't been hindered as much as all of our lives have been. We would be in his place right now had our lives, had we, had all those people around us to help us like he had. So, going back to his education, like he didn't get bogged down by the education system and turned into a serf like everybody else. So, right when he got out of school, he was making money with chickens. He had a chicken farm, and then he got into construction and so on and so forth. And he himself said he was doing very good in business very early in his life. So what that got him was financial freedom early on in life, and that's what people need. They need to be able to do what he did and just get out on a motorcycle and do whatever he wanted and travel and learn and be free of being a serf. I'm not going to use the other S word because that might be a trigger. I don't know. I'm just going to use the word serf. That's what everybody is here. They're a bunch of serfs. They don't have time to become, I won't use the word holy, but I will use the word sovereign, because that's what I'm aiming towards being, is basically free or sovereign. And so that is why Sadhguru is so successful financially, not only financially, but every other way as well, is because basically the stars have aligned for him. And, he deserves every rupee he gets. So take it away from here.
Yeah, I just want to mention here that Sadhguru's foundation, Sadhguru's ashram, and also Sadhguru is in charge of this. They have a store called Isha Life, and Isha Life sells everything and anything you can possibly think of that relates to spirituality, from the malas, the necklaces, to clothing, to jewelry, to toothpaste, even toothbrushes, hair combs, natural, organic, properly made items. And maybe that's a very large reason why the foundation is so financially successful and why Sadhguru is so financially successful. Not to mention, or in addition to this, Sadhguru travels around the globe and teaches people how to meditate. This isn't free, of course. The first course that I attended with Sadhguru was in 2019, and I paid 450 Canadian dollars. When I went into the venue, it was, I don't know how many thousands of people were there, but it was multiple thousands of people. So you can imagine how many tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, Sadhguru has earned because of that. Some people may claim that Sadhguru is a con artist, or he's a charlatan, or he's a faker, or he's a materialist. Well, I'll challenge you here. I want you to go ahead and do that. Go run a seminar, not with a couple of thousand people, but with 10 people. And don't charge them $400, charge them $10. Let's see how many show up. I don't think so. I don't think many. So Sadhguru has appropriately earned the reputation that he has as a spiritual expert or a spiritual master, and that's why people pay him the big dollars, as they should. And I'll leave it with this. He once said this, it was a very funny statement. He said, he goes to Western countries and he charges a lot so that he can go back to India and use that money to fund the rural areas. So people that are working and have jobs and drink water and have an abundance of food, they can afford to pay a few rupees for learning how to change their consciousness. And then, appropriately enough, Sadhguru funds or channels that money towards philanthropic endeavors. So, again, to mention this to you as well, that Sadhguru has planted millions of trees, hundreds of millions of trees, potentially, fed countless of people. He provides medicine in the rural area that he lives in Coimbatore, along with so many other things. But even if he didn't do that, even if he wasn't philanthropic or he wanted to improve humanity, just the work that he's doing, just the meditation techniques that he's teaching and the initiations that he does is good enough to be paid for and exchanged money from. So now, naturally, the idea comes that no guru should do this for money. He should do this for free. He should he should just don't charge anything, and he's not a real guru if he charges money. So what do you think about this, James? Do you think a spiritual person should have money? Do you think that gurus can have money? Is money a taboo subject and you should stay away from in spirituality at all costs?
That's a good question. One of the commenters on one of the other videos that I did, I've already done 2 videos here with you, stated that I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, and they're absolutely correct. I am, because we're living in a paradoxical world where, on the one hand, the truth is not for sale in the marketplace, but on the other hand, you have to have money to get and spread the so-called truth around and to enlighten people. So, to anybody out there saying that I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth, you're absolutely correct, because there's no other way to live in this realm other than to have it both ways. I'm sorry. I'm not one of these Democrat or Republican people. I don't care about either one of them. I care about the truth. So the truth is that in this realm, you have to have currency. You just have to have it. Now, is the truth for sale in the marketplace? No, it is not. It's just not. The truth you have to come at. Everybody's going to come at it from a different angle. Everybody's going to, some people could go to prison and find it. Some people could be born with a silver spoon in their mouth, per se, and come across the truth. So these questions are not just. My dad told me one time, this world is not black and white. It's just one big gray area. So that's really what's going on here, is that there's no such thing as black or white. It's just we're living in one big gray area. So I do think that one of the things that Sadhguru has mentioned is that, and this I don't agree with. This is something I don't agree with Sadhguru, is that he's saying that he has to put a price tag on it for you to grasp it. Now that might be so for the masses, but that's not so for me. Me, somebody who doesn't have a lot of money, and I didn't pay for inner engineering either of the 2 times that I did it. And as you can see, I grasped it very, very well. And I'll just give you 2 of the things that Sadhguru helped me with tremendously. 2 of those things are basically don't hurt yourself. Don't poison yourself. If you're smoking, stop. If you want to stop hurting yourself and stop smoking poison, maybe you should think about trying Sadhguru's tactics, because it worked for me. The other one was treating everybody like you would want to be treated, or, not hurting anybody because it's like hurting yourself type stuff. Like, it's just basically realizing that if you're hurting somebody else, you're basically hurting yourself. So anyway, there was a big transformation in me, with Sadhguru, Isha Foundation, and with inner engineering. But I don't personally, for me, I wouldn't have needed to pay whatever it was, $250 or whatever it was, for me to understand that. Now, maybe for the masses, that's true. I think it might be true. But for certain individuals like me, I don't need to, have this banana cost $1 for me to enjoy it. I can find it at a bus stop and eat it and get the nutrition from it. And so, yeah, that's one thing I disagree with him with. So, like I said, we're living in a paradox, people. Take it or leave it. I know you don't quite understand what that means, but what that kind of means is that it's both ways. It's both negative and positive have to come together. And yeah.
Understood. I want to add something here that Sadhguru mentioned. The reason why he charges, or part of the reason why he charges, is because he noticed a long time ago he tried to give this away for free. He would say, come join my program, it's fantastic, and people would join, and they would kind of, halfway into it, and they would be yawning, and they didn't really take it seriously. And then he said when he started charging money, people would be much more focused because now they have something to lose. They have skin in the game. And money isn't bad, my friends. Money isn't evil. It is just an exchange of goods and services. It's just energy. Well, from another side, another way you can look at it, money is potentially quite nefarious, but that's not the topic of this video. We're going to stay very polite here. And yeah, Sadhguru charges money. Sadhguru charges a lot of money. I charge money for my services. There's something else that I should mention here. Is Sadhguru wanted to go to Africa. Someone asked him, why don't you do your work in Africa? He said, only with $5 billion I'll go to Africa, because the basic foundation, the basic infrastructure hasn't even been built. People can't afford to drink proper clean water. They don't have any bathrooms. They don't have even the proper means of feeding themselves. How can you go and teach them spirituality? It would be very immoral. So, yes, Sadhguru speaks at various platforms like the World Economic Forum, not because he's some bad man. Maybe he is, potentially, I don't know. But the way I see it is, he was given an opportunity to speak to the top business leaders of the planet. And how can you turn that down? Especially if your care and aim in the world is to increase the consciousness of as many human beings as you can. He once famously said that one of the first few times he spoke at the World Economic Forum, some businessman, some big executive came up to him and said, why is a mystic here? Like, I'm so agitated, or I'm offended. And Sadhguru said, well, what is your business? What do you do? And the executive said, oh, I do X, Y, and Z. And Sadhguru essentially said, well, you're in the business of making human beings' lives better. It's exactly what I'm in the business of doing, Sadhguru says. I'm in the business of making human beings' lives better. So, of course, he should be compensated appropriately. I was in the Isha Yoga Center a while ago, and they charge money. They charge money even for water. You go to the Yogeshwara Linga in front of the Adiyogi statue in Coimbatore in the Isha Yoga Center, and you can buy water. It costs maybe 10, 15, 20 cents, something along these lines. In rupees, it costs 20 rupees, Indian rupees. And you get a copper container filled with water. You don't get to keep the copper container. You only get to use the water to pour over the lingam. And then you hand the copper container back. 20 rupees. And people might think, oh, that's a ripoff, that's a scam, that's you shouldn't be doing that. Well, I understand. But also, they need to finance this whole operation. They need to feed people. They feed something like 7,000 people a day in the ashram for free. And I chose to buy this service or this water multiple times because I didn't want to leave that place without the opportunity of pouring water on the Yogeshwara Linga. So I think also Sadhguru's reach and Sadhguru's competence and the good that he's did for the world is directly as a result of his business smart and his business savviness. If he wasn't so business savvy, probably he wouldn't have been able to reach as many people as he has. And yes, so that's the fundamental thing. So I'll hand it off to you, James. What do you have to say about this?
Yeah, the him feeding 7,000 people a day, right?
Yes.
Do you know that to be a fact?
Well, I don't know the number of people I'm sorry, I'm getting a call, so people in the audience have to bear this. Let me see if I can. I don't even know who's calling me. Okay. My mistake. A little bit of technical difficulties here. All right, we're back. So I don't know the exact number, but if you go to the Isha Yoga Center, you pay for your shelter, a couple of $100, and then they feed you. And also every day, I think you can visit and you can get a meal. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Please expand.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. That's why that was actually one of the main reasons that made me feel good about Isha. Like I said, when I first found Sadhgurus from Gordon Ramsay, and then he's back there in their kitchen. Gordon Ramsay's a Michelin chef and everything, and he's in their kitchen, and I don't know if they're like feeding homeless people, feeding rural people. I don't know what the whole thing is. Hopefully, they're doing that. I would like maybe some more investigation on that, but we can move forward on that. I've actually, because Shiva finally gave me a heads up today and, reached out to me earlier today while I was at the beach enjoying some dolphins. And so I have a napkin here with a bunch of stuff I wrote down. So I like it when Shiva gives me a heads up. So, and then he gave me the topic today. So very good topic. So first thing I thought, Sadhguru's net worth. That's all. That's what you always want to think of when you're thinking of, rich people. Net worth, right? So I looked up Sadhguru's net worth, and it's somewhere around maybe mid 20 millions United States dollars. Rupees, maybe different. They use crores over there, which I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I kind of know. But you couldn't really get a good take on how much Sadhguru's got in his bank account. But what I did want to bring up is basically Sadhguru is an A-list celebrity at this point in time. You've seen him in videos with Will Smith. You've seen him in videos with Mike Tyson. You've seen him in videos with all the, top of the elite people in the world. So Sadhguru is doing all right financially. Like I said, paradox. So Sadhguru's got funding, right? On the other side of that, I would like to bring up that a lot of these people who are involved in the media and they're A-class celebrities and they're running the world and stuff like that, they have to pay a price to get to that position in life. So that you're going to have to think what kind of price that person might have to pay behind the scenes to be in that position. So I won't delve too deep into that on YouTube, but you could use your imagination. Even the Queen of England has showed up with a black eye in the media. So I'll just leave it there and move on to the next one. A couple more topics. A couple more topics I would like to possibly do with Shiva in the future would be Mahasamadhi and Sadhguru's wife. So back over to you, Shiva.
Whoa, you dropped the bomb. You dropped quite a hefty weight there. The last two topics, yes, absolutely. I think that would be very, very wise to talk about and explore. I actually was thinking about these two subjects quite recently, so we definitely have to explore that. And what else to add outside of this on Sadhguru's money? Sadhguru is a very wealthy guy. Although in many videos he kind of jokingly says that he doesn't have any of that money, his pockets are empty. The people that are running the business or running the show, they kind of take care of him and feed him and put him to places. So I don't think he controls any of that money, or I don't think he even wants to. But I'm sure he has very wealthy friends, like you said, Will Smith and various other A-list celebrities that know him. He also said that he met some billionaires. Also, he called them billionaire paupers or broke billionaires, commenting on their spirituality and their humanity. So I'm sure that if he made a phone call and said, hey, I need a couple of 100,000 or a million or something like that, most likely he would get funding for whatever project he's doing. And yeah, this is just another message out there for you. Shout out to whoever you're watching. If you have any doubt or hesitation about Sadhguru and purchasing any of his products or his services, hopefully this video kind of eroded that, at least to some extent, and you should definitely go along with it, because what do you have to lose? Well, you have to lose a couple of $100, but if you have the chance of seeing that man or buying one of his programs like Inner Engineering, oh my God, you're gonna benefit so massively. So just trust me. And if I'm wrong, I'll lose my credibility, which is okay, and you lose a couple of $100. That's a lesson learned, but most likely that's not going to happen. So Sadhguru's videos on YouTube are also monetized. He makes money. People, YouTube advertisements, he gets money from that. Sometimes I thought, oh, well, maybe I should demonetize the things that I'm making, and because Isha, and then I looked at Isha and his YouTube videos, and he's making money off of the advertisements that are being played, as well as, yes, he also said, Sadhguru said that most of the videos that he's ever published or uploaded, or most of the videos that are on his YouTube channel, you can download them for free, and you can upload them on your own channel, and at no cost. And you can also monetize his work. So he wants to spread his message, and he wants people's lives to get better. So he said, plain and simple, yeah, most of the videos that you can download from my website, you can upload them, you can make money off them, do whatever you like. I just want there to be less suffering, basically. Those are in my words. So yeah, I hope Sadhguru gets blessed with many more millions of dollars or billions of dollars. And that'll be a fantastic thing. So if Sadhguru had a couple of $100 billion, ooh, the humanity would become much, much better. He would have access to the resources needed to do the right things on this planet. I'll say one more thing here. When he was creating the Dhyanalinga, which I visited in Coimbatore and Isha Yoga Center, he said that he had limited resources. So what he wanted to do, if he had an abundance of resources, he would dig into the ground deep enough, and he would build a kind of a pool of water, and he would make the Dhyanalinga sit right in front of a large pool of water, so that you would sit, water would be surrounding you, bodies of water, and the nice energy would be impacting you, and then you would have the presence of the Dhyanalinga, and it would be submerged underground. So it's an added benefit of you coming in strong contact with the earth. And he said, well, I couldn't do that because finances, the only limitation was finances. He said this in that video. I'm always limited by finances or resources. And I thought that made me so sad. like I felt pain in my heart, because if Elon Musk just decided to gift him half of his net worth, wow, the amount of benefits that human beings would receive are far more than what Elon Musk can do maybe in 100 lifetimes of putting people to space or creating Wi-Fi or whatever else he's doing. So fundamentally, Sadhguru deals with the life's energies of the human body, and he's a master at that. And everybody should go and subscribe to Sadhguru's YouTube channel if you haven't already, and watch all of his videos, literally all of them. Take it away. What do you have to share? What are your thoughts, opinions, if any? Tell us everything.
Yeah. So I wanted to bring it back to what you said that he talked about in Africa. I'm not sure when he said that, but Africa has changed a lot. I was just watching a video, or I didn't watch it, but it was on YouTube about how China has invested a lot in China. I mean,
In Africa.
yeah.
Yes.
China's investing a lot in Africa, and they're like, you know how China moves? They move quick. Like their infrastructure is like way better than North Americans. Like you look at their airports, you look at their fast rail trains, you look at how fast they build mega cities, and they do it quickly and efficiently and like way better than we do it. So Africa is changing pretty quickly. So that what he said about Africa is, Africa is not exactly how people imagine it. It's basically like how we are. It's not too far away from how we are, other than certain areas in the Congo and like Sudan and places like that where the government hasn't completely controlled everything, and there are still a couple of free people left. But yeah, that's my little take on Africa. So Sadhguru could go in there if he wanted to, and he probably will very soon open up something in South Africa, probably. So what else do we have here? One other thing I wanted to mention. Oh, another, just to throw this in before I move any further, I would love to make a video with you on pets and dogs. Okay. Because I would, I heard your take on that, and we have similar views on that. So back to Sadhguru. One thing about him and these, big business meetings with people who are going to try and save the planet. So here's where the contradiction comes in with Sadhguru. Everything in his organization is about planting trees. Everything. Rally for Rivers, planting trees. Project Green Hands, planting trees. Save Soil, planting trees. I'm totally with you on that, Sadhguru. Planting trees is the way to make this planet, or whatever you want to call this place that we're living on, better. Because the force that we're up against on this planet is taking away the trees. As you can see, they're plowing this whole planet and turning it into a parking lot and a shopping center. And I just witnessed with the second hurricane we had here in Florida came through, knocked over thousands of trees, just like that. So, I mean, it's not only humans who are terraforming the face of the earth by tearing it apart. Also, so-called Mother Nature's doing it as well. So everything with him is planting trees, and they're talking about CO2 emissions and whatnot. Now, I don't totally agree with the CO2 thing, but the great U.G. Krishnamurti once said, if any of these environmental activists are out here saying to do these types of things, and they themselves aren't doing those types of things, meaning they're jet setting around the world on jets and building structures all over the place, and golfing, and golf is an elitist sport. As you can see, I have a polo shirt on. That's probably the only sport that's more elite than golfing. That's golfing on a horse. It takes a lot of land, that takes a lot of water, that takes a lot of resources, even though sometimes they do put them on top of landfills, past dump sites. Basically, the great U.G. Krishnamurti said, kick him in his pants and get rid of him. So Again, back to the paradox. Yes, Sadhguru will change your life. At the same time, do not rest on Sadhguru for the rest of your life. Take what you need and move forward and figure out the actual absolute truth of this world.
Yeah, Sadhguru golfs. That's he's participating in that elitist sport. I see him golfing many times, and he seems to enjoy it. Well, I'm not sure he's doing whatever he's doing. Yeah, that's absolutely right. It takes tremendous amounts of water to make the grass grow. Which grass? Don't get me started on grass. It's one of the most funniest things. If you have a house, you have to appropriately trim your grass every day and make sure that it gets enough water. And if it gets too high, the city will come and give you a fine. Hey, you're letting nature sprout out. No, no, no. We're gonna make sure you get fined. It's absurd. So I hated cutting grass. My family always made me cut grass in my earlier years. That's just a topic for another discussion. Yeah, Sadhguru plays golf. He can't really do anything else. He's got too many injuries, I guess. And what else to be mentioned here about Sadhguru and Sadhguru's money? Sadhguru's exclusive videos, sadguruexclusive.com or something along those lines. It's a paid program where you watch Sadhguru's exclusive videos that he can't upload on YouTube. Or it's much more advanced spiritual knowledge. And I've been subscribed to Sadhguru exclusive for more than a year, and it's one of the highest quality ideas, spiritual ideas that you can find on planet Earth. And it's like $9, $10 Canadian, maybe less if you're an American. So definitely highly encourage you to invest in that and watch all that. I pretty much watched almost every single video multiple times. There was a time in my life that I just studied that. You mentioned in the previous few minutes of this podcast that I'm an expert at Sadhguru. That's true because I put in so much time and effort into studying him and learning what he has to say, and most importantly, absorbing his energy. So that's one of the ways that I did it. And Sadhguru had a shop here in Toronto. It was called Isha Life Shop, as it normally is. And the upcharge of some of the products were quite absurd. I understand it now because he has to ship these things and the customs and the fees and renting the place. But still, something worth mentioning, that a simple copper ring, which costs a few rupees in India, maybe 10, 15, 20 rupees, I don't know exactly how much. It would be basically pennies for if you're an American. But to buy it in Canada, it's about $10, $12 or 10 American dollars, which is a huge, huge, huge upsurge. Similarly with Vibhuti, the sacred ash, it costs a few pennies in South India, but it costs $10, $12 in Canada. So yeah, Sadhguru is definitely a business, or his Isha Foundation is a business, and a successful business at that, and nothing wrong with it. You should be a successful business, and I hope they become more successful, much more successful.
I think, well, I don't think they're going to become more successful. I do hope that they touch more lives. I hope that more people become more conscious, and it touches people like you and I the way it did, you know. But unfortunately, I was thinking about this today. Like, you've heard of the brand like True Religion. I think about these brands like you've heard of the fashion brand True Religion.
No.
No. Well, let's take it like this. Like Shaquille O'Neal had his shoes. You know, 30 years ago they used to cost $200. Now he sells them at Walmart. So I mean, what happens is people either eventually sell out, meaning the quality goes down, and they choose quantity over quality, or basically people move on to something else. And from what I've found ever since the 2020 episode, the energy has depleted because of the choice that he chose. And it's, in my opinion, it reached its peak. But we'll see what happens. I don't know if the governments are going to prop it up, keep propping it up. Not quite sure how that's going to go. I'm not quite sure about his head injury. Not quite sure if his daughter is going to take over. But if these people who are running it right now are going to continue to run it, then they're going to run it into the ground. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, that's a valid point, a very valid point. To bring it back to this money part, that Sadhguru is going to be doing a consecration in California. It's a Linga Bhairavi consecration, the feminine deity. And I thought, wow, what a fantastic opportunity. It's not that far away from me. It's just a plane ride. I can go there and I can participate in this. And I went out and looked at the tickets. The closest seat you can take to Sadhguru, I had to double check the price. It was like $10,000 or more, American dollars. That's insane. But I understand, I understand. It's only like 10, 15, 20 people that can fit there, and the demand is so high, you can't fit everybody. So the price, as the demand increases, so does the price. Naturally has to increase. You're nodding your head no. I'd love to hear your take after this. And then as the seats go back, it's less money, but still an absurd amount. It's like $5,000, then $3,000, and $1,000. And sitting way in the back, it's still like $1,000 or more. It's not in my price range to do that. I thought, okay, well, I guess I'm going to have to miss out on this opportunity of the consecration. And partly it's to do with the exclusive nature of this. It's no one can do this except him. Also partly because the venue, I'm sure it's not some huge arena. When he was doing the consecration in Bengaluru, which is the snake consecration, there was a lot of people, thousands of people. And that was much more affordable, I'm pretty sure. I know some people that attended that because it's a large venue, and so that's also needs to be taken into consideration. And there's a very famous YouTube of Sadhguru talking to a live studio audience of young kids or young students from a law school. And some kid stood up and he said, "Oh, Sadhguru, I love your shop." And I really, sarcastically, he's saying this, "Oh, I love your shop and I really hope you become a millionaire and I hope you compete with Amazon and this." And then I was waiting for Sadhguru to say something wise, and he kind of started defending himself. Like, "Oh, no, it's never going to be big, and we're going to damper it down. We're not going to make so much money, and we're only doing this for a certain purpose." That was one of the only times where I thought Sadhguru's answer was very inappropriate. Why couldn't he just say, "Yeah, it's okay. I'm making money. We're selling spiritual products. There's high demand. What, is there a big issue?" So that was a little bit weird. But yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the Isha LA, the Isha Los Angeles, and also that exchange he had with the law student. I'll handle the law student situation first. They sell a lot of stuff on that website. It's not just like 10 items, you know what I mean? It's more like hundreds of items. And they can't even keep them in stock, which is sad. So, especially when there's people like me who's willing to be a part of that organization. But anyway, Isha LA, I am so glad you brought that up because I had that in my mind beforehand. As everybody knows, Hollywood and Los Angeles are playing a very, very large role in the media of this world and has been for a long time. And Los Angeles is a very hollow city with a lot of bad people. And that's a very good place for Isha to set up shop for what their second part of their uh, life is going to end up being. And it's just, Los Angeles is just, it's not a good place. I don't. A lot of people don't understand what's going on in that place, but there's a lot of not good people there and a lot of stuff that's going on in that city. That's it's just sad. But yeah, Isha, LA. So yeah, I guess there's not much I can say about it. There was something I was going to say about it, but yeah, Los Angeles is just it's a very bad place.
Yeah, I've been to LA, Los Angeles. I've been to Hollywood, and It's yeah, not the friendliest place, not the safest or kindest. I definitely wouldn't want to live there unless if I was living some next to the beach or something very far away from everything. But I mentioned the Los Angeles because of the consecration. Did you have anything to say about that? The price range, or you look like you had some thoughts?
Well, I mean, I don't really keep. I'm not really keeping tabs on what's going on with Isha anymore. I mean, it's pretty much ran its course with me. Like I said, I got what I needed to get out of it, and I didn't pay anything for it. And I'm probably one of the people on this planet that has transformed. I mean, I literally pick trash up off the ground. I never litter. I treat everybody with respect. I'm a very, kind, loving person, and didn't pay for inner engineering either time. Now I've supported them through buying stuff from their Isha Life, hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Um, and I, like I said, I would love to be a part of their organization. Unfortunately, how they run it is just not how he was explaining how it was supposed to be ran. Like, he was saying that he's going to be bringing people in and they're going to be, changing the world, and that's just not what's going on. Like, they're for them to be charging that much money. But see, this is what happens in places like LA. These people, it's kind of like with this one rapper I heard in an interview recently. His name's ASAP Ferg. He's like part of ASAP Rocky's thing. He's like, rich people are boring. You know what I mean? Once you're that rich, you're like buying artwork worth hundreds of thousands of dollars and just putting it on your wall because you don't have a spirit anymore. You sold your spirit to get all that money. Now you're buying somebody else's. And so, like, how are these people? I'm just, how are these people getting all this money to spend $5,000, $10,000 to get close to a human being? Sadhguru is a human being to me. So, I mean, like I said, he's transformed my life and a lot of people's lives. And as another one of the commenters said in one of the videos, actually a good commenter, he's saying that, you know, yeah, he ran into issues when he went to the ashram as well as maybe you did, or he had some kind of like issue when he went there. But that was a small setback in how much his life has changed. And I understand, like, getting this level of transformation is great. And so he really doesn't watch Sadhguru like I don't, like we don't either. But you take that transformation and you move forward with it. I just seeing where this organization started and seeing where it's at now in 2024 is two separate worlds. So it's just, that's where this world is going, though, as a whole. That's where this whole world is going.
Well, let's wrap up. I think we've pretty much touched up on as much as we could have in this video. Sadhguru's money and his millionaire status. Something worth mentioning here is Osho. There's also a very famous yogi. He died, of course, unfortunately, maybe through some malpractice. Someone decided that's enough, or some of his followers did something very bad. But he was extremely rich. He was a rich man's guru, as he pointed out. He always wore very fancy clothing, sat in a very expensive chair, and spoke. Definitely very wise, very enlightened. And people saw no issue of donating Rolls Royces to him. At one point, he had something like 78 Rolls Royces, which is just madness. Higher than that, yeah. So that's an absurd amount of money. That's an absurd amount of cars. And he didn't drive them. Maybe he drove one or two. They just stood at the parking lot like a flexing symbol. He also wore very expensive wristwatches. And yeah, that's the kind of guru I want to be. A rich person's guru, or I don't know who gave him so many Rolls Royces. How did he get that? That's always something that's a mystery to me. I'm gonna have to search that up, or if you know how that happened, tell me in the comments. But yeah, any thoughts on Osho?
I'm so glad you brought him up in this topic because he's the perfect person to bring up in this topic. Um, the great UG Krishnamurti, which I watch, calls him, uh, what was it? I forget what he called him, but I mean, he got all that stuff because he transformed people's lives, just like Sadhguru's done. I mean, these guys have a certain power. And these people with all this money, they don't have a spirit left after all that getting, in order to get all that money, you're basically selling your spirit away. So I don't use the word soul because I found out what the difference is between the body, the soul, and the spirit. I won't get into that in this episode. But the reason that people are so willing to give Sadhguru and Osho and people like that millions of dollars is because they don't have a spirit. They have millions and billions of dollars, but they don't have a spirit. And these two gurus that we're talking about, they're capable of showing them the light, basically, or removing the darkness. Because when you're making that much money, you're in the dark. You're deep, deep, deep in the dark, and who knows what you did to get all that money. And so when you remove the darkness and bring them into the light, they can make more money, but they can't get out of the darkness. So when they bring them into the light, they don't care. They just hear. Osho had close to 100 Rolls Royces. Um, so yeah, Osho is another good person to watch. He's a great I watch him all the time. He's a good person to watch, and it's pretty cool to see that all of his videos are still there from the 1980s from his city or whatever compound in Oregon. It's so crazy, like all these people that you can learn from. Like I keep bringing up UG Krishnamurti, but nobody's on that level to even watch him. So he was cut from the same cloth as J. Krishnamurti, which everybody knows, Jiddu Krishnamurti. But UG Krishnamurti is another one of those, but he's in a different lane. So
Mm. Mm.
yeah, I'm glad that you brought up Osho in this.
One final piece I want to touch upon here is J. Krishnamurti. Uh, I heard a video by Sadhguru explaining how he got robbed. Essentially, he got robbed. One of his assistants that was managing his finances, she thought that he wasn't that enlightened or he wasn't that wise because one day she saw him picking out an outfit and he couldn't decide between one color and the other color. He was very particular in how he dressed. And one day she decided to take all of his finances that he had in his bank account, the money that he needed to travel from city to city and teach. She just basically cleaned him out, took it all, and ran away. And Sadhguru is very saddened by this. It's a great tragedy. It's a huge negative karma that she's accumulated in herself. And Sadhguru said very purposefully that if she could steal his enlightenment, that would have been much better than her stealing that much or that amount of money, however much it was. So, yeah, this has been an episode on money, ladies and gentlemen, and specifically Sadhguru's money, how he's a multimillionaire. I hope you enjoyed. Click the like button if you've enjoyed. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Do you think Sadhguru should be a bigger billionaire? Should he have more Rolls Royces? Should someone give him a Rolls Royce? He's definitely lacking in that department, at least in comparison to Osho. And yes, anything relating to money. Thank you to James again for joining us on this podcast, joining me on this podcast. We're going to have him on, and we're going to talk about much deeper subjects after this, like Mahasamadhi and Sadhguru's wife, and many more controversial topics such as this. Thank you so much for watching, my friends, ladies and gentlemen. See you next time.